Okay, how y'all doing? So, there were some things I didn't get to say in the last video that I uploaded, so I'm gonna call this video thoughts or thoughts on high school days, or looking back on high school days, or something like that, and other things. The title I'll figure out when I upload it, but okay, so back to some of what I was saying earlier. So another thing that I forgot to say is, well, back in high school, didn't have a lot of money. Well, didn't have money for a freaking computer, my own computer, let's say. So some people would wonder why I was constantly in the library using the computer, or constantly in the library. It's because I did not have internet at my house, you idiots. Okay? It's like, I didn't care if a certain person was in the library. I didn't care who was in the library. You know, despite what you may think, I didn't fucking care. Like, I knew who was going to be in the library and when. I didn't give a fuck. I went on there and I used the computer because once I figured out the things you could do on the internet, you know, once I discovered things like eBay and Amazon, it was on. And if I, let's just say I could do, if I know what I know now, I would have probably spent a lot more money back then. But you see, with eBay, you had to have like a credit card to join originally. So I figured out, back in school, high school, I figured out a way around that. I would find the email of the seller of the item that I wanted, and I would email them an offer. I'd be like, I will give you so-and-so, like $10 plus the cost of shipping for this item or whatever, which was usually a movie or something I wanted. Sometimes they would take it, sometimes they wouldn't, which, if they would accept it, what they would do was they would end the auction, and then I would do the transaction with them, and I send them a check or what, personal check or whatever, money order, whatever the hell it was, and I would get the movie or whatever I wanted. You know, Amazon, same thing, except for Amazon was obviously, you know, not individual sellers, at least not right off. I mean, they have individual sellers on the Amazon marketplace now, of course, but yeah, that's what I would do. I would surf the net of things that I liked, which back in high school, well, I still like Jan and Dean. I would be on that website, their website, a lot. I would look up things like cars and freaking, you know, just things I was into, basically, just something to do, you know. I didn't get a computer with internet in my house until about 2007. I mean, the only thing I had in school was a junk laptop that had no disk drive. It was outdated Windows 95, so about the only thing you could do with it was play a couple of games like Solitaire. I mean, it really didn't do much else. Same thing with one I got after that. I think that one had a disk drive, and that one was Windows 98, but again, by that point, it was outdated, and you still couldn't do much with it. And they were junk. So I didn't get a computer in 2007 when I got a desktop, which was a Dell. The Windows service was not any better. It was Windows Vista shit, which they obviously had to pay people to frickin' go on and do a commercial to say it was good, which obviously it wasn't. I got to say, the Vista Home Premium, which was on a laptop that I got from a friend after that, was a little better than the basic version I had on the desktop, but not by much. I mean, that desktop computer drove me up the fucking wall. I mean, I would kick that freaking tower. At one point, I kicked that tower so hard the freaking sides blew off of it. It didn't break the computer chips or nothing. It didn't hurt the freaking computer, but freaking I popped the freaking sides off of it by kicking it. That's how frustrating that piece of shit was. Windows Vista was complete crap. But yeah, that's why I was in the library, or freaking out of school. I would go to the library, and that's how I discovered who the Red Baron was. About 2006, I got better oldies CDs now, but I had this 10 CD set of oldies, which was only 10 songs on each disc, and you know, at the time it was a good deal, but you know, I've obviously got better ones in the collection now, so. But back then it was a good deal. So, you know, 100 songs for, I think it was like $30. I mean, you know, original hits by the original artists. There wasn't any re-recorded shit or anything. So there was a song on disc 9 called Snoopy versus the Red Baron. Okay? So I could have jumped ahead and listened to that, but it's like, well, I'll go through the volumes individually, and then when I got to disc 9, the song played. So I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It's pretty neat. So you fast forward to, again, this is the year before I got a computer with the internet at the house. So it was either go to the library or I go to my friend's house and use their internet, which they would let me do. They lived on North Street. So I went to the library to check my email, which at the time, I don't know what the deal is now because I obviously don't do this anymore, but at the time they would give you half hour to do whatever. If it wasn't busy, sometimes they'd say your session's been extended 10 minutes or session's been extended, whatever. Okay, so I didn't get any emails that day. I mean, not even any junk mail or nothing like that. So I was like, alright. So I was like, well, I still got almost a half hour to kill. What am I going to do? So it's like, I'll go to Yahoo. I'll go to Yahoo and I'll type in words Red Baron, just for shits and giggles. I'll see what pops up. So that's what I did. And that famous picture of him popped up, one of the more famous pictures of him. It says, basically it said World War I flying ace, 80 confirmed victories, World War I. It's like, I didn't say it out loud because it was a library, but in my mind, I was like, holy shit, that fucker was real. And that was 19 years ago. And he's just one of my heroes. So, there you go. But that was when I didn't have my own computer to look stuff up. But back to high school, so in between classes, another thing that I would do, which apparently bothered some people, sometimes I'd have quite a bit of time between classes, so I would randomly wander the halls between all the buildings, just to kill time. If I couldn't spend time in the library, if I couldn't get on the computer and I didn't feel like flipping through the books or whatever, which one of my favorite books was this one, and yes, this is the library copy. And if you're wondering how I ended up with it, well, when I graduated back in 2004, they had a graduation rehearsal, at least that school did, and doing the rehearsal, I happened to notice that one of the librarians came and they had a wrapped gift. Keep in mind, I was the only one that apparently got one of these from them. I don't know anybody else that received one. But I would take this book of classic cars out, and the whole time I was in high school, I tried to get them to sell it to me. They wouldn't do it. So they gave me this book as a graduation gift. They discarded it from the library and they gave it to me as a graduation gift, and I've had it ever since. And I graduated in June of 2004. Okay, so that's almost 21 years I've had this book. have not gotten rid of it. There was somebody else that gave me another book that I sadly did get rid of. Graduation. It was a book on the Titanic, and I am going to try. I've been trying to recover that. It's easier said than done, probably. I mean, I know the where it came from in the building, and I know what to look for that's written on the inside. So if I run across that again, I'll get it back. Well, one of my younger days, one of the things I used to do is I used to sell shit just for the sake of selling it. Not even make that much money for it. I'd buy like a $20 CD and sell it for $3 just because, I was young and stupid. I'm still replacing shit that I sold like 15 plus years ago, so, it was a bad idea. I don't do this anymore. I mean, I still sell stuff because I, it's what I do. I mean, I freaking sell die-cast cars and movies and video games and stuff like that, but I don't sell stuff for the sake of selling it anymore. I don't do that. It was just stupid. But but yeah, they gave me this book, and it's very detailed. Lots of classic cars, anything from the of course 57 Chevys, and of course one of my favorite cars is right here, and that's the Tucker. So, but yeah, they gave that to me as the librarians gave that to me as a gift for graduation. So I thought that was a nice gesture. They didn't have to do that, but they did. So back to what I was saying. So I used to randomly wander the halls, just to kill time. There was somebody else that I used to be friends with in high school that apparently I was told that, well, it's like everywhere you look, everywhere she looked, she saw you. It's like, yeah, because I randomly wander the halls, and I've been doing this for frickin' all the years that I've been here. It's like, I thought the same about her, honestly, but I didn't say anything. But honestly, that's the reason why after high school I never tried, staying in contact with her. I mean, I imagine she probably has a Facebook or Twitter or whatever the hell, but it's like, I don't really care. It's like, I also don't forget when someone's a traitor, and the thing that she did, maybe she doesn't realize she did it, but I don't forget when somebody stabs me in the back, and that's exactly what she did. I'm not talking about the same one that I was talking about earlier. I'll gonna mention a little more about that in a minute here, but it's kind of has to do with, well, it does have to do with that, but yeah, I don't forget when somebody stabs me in the back. I mean, she might as well have stuck a real knife in my back. That's how it felt. So that's why I don't ever want to be friends with her again. It's like, there was ever a class reunion, it's like, I wouldn't go. I mean, I wouldn't go to those stupid things anyways, because I think they're just dumb. I didn't go to my prom either any year. I mean, I could have gone. I could have even, because I know some of the people in my class actually went freshman year. So even though I wasn't a junior or senior, I could have gone to prom, but I didn't bother going, and I didn't bother asking anyone because I didn't figure, it's best, not to be disappointed. I look at it that way. It's like, rather than be turned down, it's just like, just not go. And it's like, I really doubt that there was any girl, especially even the one I was talking about earlier, that I doubt there was anyone that was waiting and hoping that I would ask them. I really doubt that, so that's why I didn't worry too much about it. And then the other thing about things like the prom is I associate that with the 1950s. So it's like, okay, I like the 1950s, I like the music and all that, cars, but that's what I associate it with. The prom doesn't mean anything to me, didn't mean anything to me, so that's why I didn't care about going. I never went to any of the other dances. The only time I went to a sports event, which the one I mentioned earlier, she played softball and hockey, and she pretty much told me to go to a game, so I went to one hockey game at one point and one to softball game. I never went to those games before or since, so if she didn't tell me to go, I wouldn't have gone. And honestly, somebody should have freaking told me at the hockey game that there were seating arrangements, because I sat in the visiting team section, and when I stood up to cheer for my home school, I got stared at. Needless to say, I moved. So somebody should have fucking said that there were seating arrangements at those games. Needless to say, I didn't really enjoy myself. Didn't really enjoy myself at the softball game either, for that matter. But, I wouldn't have freaking gone if she didn't want me to. I tried out for a basketball team when I was in middle school. Didn't make it, so I never bothered to try it out again. Maybe I could have made it at BHS playing, because I like baseball, and I'd like to think I probably could have made one of those teams if I really put the effort in, but I never bothered. I never bothered. Though outside of school, though, I had a friend that me and him would play baseball almost every day. At one point, there was a point where we'd go over to the park, even though it was just mainly me and him. Occasionally, we'd get one or two other people to play too, but we'd go over to the park and just play baseball for a while. But it was fun. But yeah, so I used to randomly just wander the halls and just to kill time. There was, back to what I was saying earlier about her being the one I was talking about earlier, about the school saying that she was a manipulator and an instigator and things like that, and it was also said that she, and I quote, not my words, but had me wrapped around her little finger. Well, again, if I didn't want to be around her, I would have told her to fuck off. But, it is what it is. But as far as her being an instigator, a manipulator, well, I don't really buy that. But, I think she was, if anything, a little bit schizophrenic in some ways, because there was one time in particular that I remember I was wandering the halls, as usual. I was going toward one building, or in the hallway between two of the buildings, and she comes out of nowhere. She pretty much gave me an order. She's like, "Adam, walk with me." And so I did. But like a minute or two after that, she's like, "Why?" She's like, "Why are you going this way?" or something like that. So it's like a switch flip. Like, it's like, okay. It's like, you just told me to come with you. In fact, you pretty much. I didn't say this out loud, but I probably should have. I was shy back then. That was a lot of my problems was I was shy. But yeah, it's like in like a minute or two, or less than 2 minutes, she just flipped the switch. It's like she was a different person. It's like, well, if you hadn't told me to follow you or come with you, then I wouldn't have. It's like, all right, whatever. But I mean, I can't say I wasn't really. I don't know if she was really, manipulative or like that. Maybe in some ways she was, but I didn't help the situation by not telling her no. Obviously, so I know it's a long time ago to be thinking about this now, but like I said, it's like recently. I mean, what's happened in the past few years and things like that. It's like obviously not just this, but other things too. I mean, see, I can remember this, but I can't remember other things. Like talking to another friend of mine the other night, and where he used to live. Well, it's down the hill. See, I don't even remember the house, but he tells me that I was there. And that's the thing. I don't remember that. I really don't. But if he says I was, then I probably was, considering how many years that I've known him. I probably, but I don't remember. I'm not going to lie and say I do remember when I don't. So. But anyways, I don't really necessarily believe she was. Maybe she, in some ways, that she was an instigator and manipulator, but maybe she just didn't know any better. I don't know. But like I said, the fact that I couldn't tell her no and things like that. She had me. This was on her. Okay, this part. She had me following her around like a puppy. So, I mean, which, as I recall, I did tell her, it's like if you have a problem, if you don't want me around, then just tell me, I would have listened, but, don't go around telling people that I'm bothering you when I'm not. It's like, I don't do shit like that. People can believe whatever they want, just like anybody else that may watch this. They're gonna believe what they fucking want, anyways. But it's like I was there, and I had a lot of people that were around me at the time that could back me up on it, that are still around. So like I never said I was freaking perfect, but no one is. New air. But like I said, it was school. We were freaking teenagers. Teenagers do things that they don't think about. It's like when I told someone the other day that what me and my friend did with the kite doing the lightning storm. She's like, "You guys weren't thinking, were you?" And it's like, no, probably not. The sad part about that is, the sad part about that kite thing is, I seem to recall I tried it again with another one of my friends like a few years after that. So I don't think I learned the first time. It's probably a freaking good thing that on that storm there wasn't a lot of wind. There wasn't a whole lot of lightning either. There was some, but not a lot. I mean, if it was one of those really bad storms, then might not be here to talk to you. Like I said, that's probably one of the stupidest things I've done. Although, me and that same friend that I did the kite with the first time, we were swimming in the lake after a thunderstorm one day, and there was still some lightning in the distance, so that also wasn't very smart. Of course, there was one time I tried to think I could ride my mountain bike across an ice rink. Didn't make it very far. Made about halfway across. That didn't feel too good. But yeah, just when you're young, you do stupid things. But like I said, I'm not proud of a lot of the shit I did. I'm not, proud for how I acted. Back then, I'm not proud of how I acted toward her. Granted, she didn't really always act, nice toward me or whatever, or kind toward me. But that don't make it right to retaliate. But, no one's frickin' perfect. But obviously I don't randomly sell shit anymore like I used to. I mean, if you're wondering how bad it got when I was doing that, just randomly selling my movies and shit, well, I ran across a couple pictures that I took back then, and there was one point I had hardly any movies to watch, hardly any CDs or music to listen to, hardly any video games to play. If that tells you anything. That's how bad it got. So when I was in my early 20s, I had a habit of just fucking selling shit for the sake of selling it. I mean, there was a food truck downtown, and there was one point I got so addicted to that, getting an Italian sausage with fries from that guy, I would go to the used music store and I would bring whatever, sell a few items, and then go get my food. So that's where a lot of that stuff went. I would, freaking sell whatever and just to get, my lunch for that day. Looking back now, that was really dumb. See, I don't do that anymore. It's just like I have money on me right now. There's a food bus or a food truck across the street that's there every day during the summer months, and unless the weather's bad. But I don't go there every day. Hell, since they've been open this season, I've only been there once. So I'm very conservative with my money now. I still buy stuff, of course, but I always calculate my bills. I always make sure I have food in the house. I always make sure I get the necessities like paper towels, toilet paper, my body wash, and things like that. When I had both cats, obviously I got the stuff that they needed, and I probably will get another cat at some point, or another animal at some point. But I always make sure that I have everything calculated. Then I figure what I can spend. I don't overdo it. PayPal has this thing where you pay in four. What that is the seller or merchant that you buy from, they get paid the full amount, but it only takes out a certain amount every 15 days. So if the amount is $32, so it'll take the $8 out the first day. 15 days later it'll be the other 8, and 15 days out of that, and so on and so forth. So that's why it's like I bought a couple things last night, and that's what I did. I did both the pay in fours, because one of the things doesn't pop up very often. It's pretty rare. So, it's a CD set. It doesn't pop up very often, so I wanted it for my collection. It's still more reasonable than it normally goes for. And then the other thing was horror related, so I'm into horror movies. Because of all the tariffs, as I mentioned in the first video, they're going to be going up in price. All this stuff's going to be going up in price, so I wanted to get one of these before that happens. I got the cheaper one. There's different versions that you can get of it, but I got one of the cheaper ones. So, it's whatever. But yeah, sorry. I still make money selling like movies and video games and die-cast cars and other things. But I don't randomly sell shit cheap just for the sake of selling it. I've gone past that. But anyways, I'll drop this video too, just to maybe I'll schedule it to drop. It doesn't have to drop really right off, but it's just a continuance of what some of the things I wanted to say in the first video, random thoughts video, up today. So, like I said, a lot of people, you know, most of my videos lately haven't been really getting watched anyways. I mean, I got one that'll probably watch these videos, somebody down in Florida. She knows who she is. I don't want to say her name because she doesn't want me to say it, but she knows who she is. So she watches all my videos, and she'll actually take time to watch ones like this. So, but she's a good person. So, she's a good friend. Which, you know, some of the friends I do have now, like, kind of questionable at best. You know, some of them aren't very reliable or very, very loyal, as it turns out. So it's nice when you have somebody that you can talk to. Anyways, I think that's it for now. So like I said, I'll call this thoughts on high school days and other things. I went to a sci-fi con, or sci-fi horror con, about a little over a week ago. The Munster coach from the Munsters was there, and Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster, was there, and I got this. As you can see, I got it framed. But there was supposed to be a '66 Batmobile and Bat Cycle there too, but they weren't there. And there was like an Impala, like the one from Supernatural, was there, but I didn't care about that. I mean, that's just an Impala, you know. I've been to a lot of car shows over the years. I've seen Impalas, so. But I gotta say, you asking me if it was good? Well, this particular one, when I went to it almost 4 years ago, which is the only other time I went to it, it was better. This one was kind of a letdown. I mean, I bought a couple other things, but honestly, it's, you know, that's the only reason I paid for that picture, is because I want some memento, because honestly, it was just a whole lot of nothing, basically. So there was like vendors there, most of it stuff I was not interested in, so I just randomly wandered around, you know, just, I wasn't impressed. But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, I guess they're not every time they have one of those things it's going to be extraordinary, so. Throat's a little dry. I don't know must be the air in here, I don't know. But yeah, it was alright, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. There were a couple other celebrities there. There was like the one that played Death from Supernatural, which I've never really watched Supernatural that much, so I can't really tell you who that was, because I don't know much about him. And the other one that was there was the somebody from Scream, but like not one of the like A-listers. So like I said, other than Butch Patrick, who played Eddie Munster on the Munsters, other than that, it's pretty uneventful. But like I said, it was alright for what it was, you know. I mean, not gonna have this is the microphone, in case you're wondering what that is. You know, not everything's gonna be extraordinary. It's just the way it is. But anyways, I'll have more videos for y'all soon. I'm going to get those other, I'll upload the
music video for the. I'll put together the Hex Girls video, and I'll schedule that to drop, and I'll also drop another song from the that soundtrack, as I promised. Just because it's a good soundtrack, you know. I mean, a lot of those songs probably may not even be on YouTube. I've just been doing the cover art with the song because I don't have anything planned to for a lot of those songs to do like the set depicts videos that I do. Although I could always do one later down the road if I think of something or if I want to do something. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoy this video. I'll schedule this one to drop, you know, in a day or two. But you know, just to get some thoughts out there, you know. Like I said, freaking, we all do things we're not proud of. Yes, I don't even have a kite, so I don't do that anymore, and I sure as hell don't, you know, try to play chicken with cars anymore. So. Yep. So. Anyways, I hope you all have a nice day.